Hello all, Matthew Bodie here, back with another South African genealogy tutorial. Today we'll be trying our hand at locating some post-1930 marriage records on FamilySearch. The title that FamilySearch have given these marriages in their catalogue for South Africa is Civil Registrations. However, don't be misled by this title. Civil registrations in these cases doesn't just mean magistrates' weddings. These records cover all church denominations as well as all magistrates' weddings. For the purpose of this video, to maintain the privacy of living individuals in my tree, I've chosen to log in on an alias account in my father's name, and we'll be looking at examples from within my own tree for each of the South African provinces up until 1955, and then beyond 1955 there's a collection which covers 1956 to 1960 marriages, and they amalgamate all of the provinces into one for this collection. So we'll also be taking a look at how to use that catalogue, which has some of the most detailed marriage records I've ever seen for South African research. Now, for the purpose of this video and going forward, if you decide to use these collections, it's best if you already know the date for one and the place. Now, if you already know the date, that's great. You can guess the place and just have a look around. But if you don't know the date or place, you're going to be trawling a few thousand images before you find the record that you're after. So try and talk to those living family members to see if you can get those details beforehand before using these collections. So our first example today will be for my great-grand-aunt Louisa Judith Anderson, and she was married to Athol Hayward on the 28th of February 1946 in Grahamstown. Now, Grahamstown, I know, falls under the district of Albany, which is in the Cape Province of South Africa. So let's have a go at finding that record first. So let's go to our trusty website, FamilySearch, and if you aren't already signed up on FamilySearch, I'd highly advise you do so. Hover over Search and go to Catalog. Then go to Titles and type in Cape Marriage 1955. 1955 is the year where most of these collections end. And the one that we want to click on in this instance is Civil Registrations, Marriages, Whites, Coloreds and Indians, Cape Province, 1931 to 1955. So let's click on that. Alright. So you can see that these records are all organized by firstly the year, and then after the year they'll be going alphabetically by each town. So starting with Albert for 1931 and ending in Worcester. So we want to locate a marriage in 1946 for the district of Albany. So let's scroll down until we start seeing 1946 appear in the notes column. Okay, here we are. So we can see this film here covers the tail end of 1945 as well as the beginning of 1946 from the districts of Aberdeen through to Calvinia. So let's open this into a new tab. Click on our camera icon and go open a new tab. Let's just go about halfway through to see which district that takes us to. So right now we are in the district of Aberdeen and in the middle of that year for Aberdeen. So let's go a few more images in. Alright, so now we're in the district of Albany and we're in January. So we should just have to go a few more images in to find that record that we want. Alright, so we're now on the 1st of March, and Louisa and Athol were married on the 28th of February, so we might have to go a couple images back. Okay, so here we have it. Ethel Claude Hayward and Louisa Judith Addison, married on the 28th of February 1946 in Grahamstown, the District of Albany. So quite a lot of detail included in these records, so definitely worth finding and adding to your family tree. Once you have the record up, you can favorite it, download it. Be sure to source the link on your family tree if you aren't in that habit yet. So now we've covered the Cape, let's go and do the Transvaal. And for this example, we're using my great-grandmother marrying her eventual husband, Isaac Bosman, on the 26th of August 1946 in Johannesburg. And this was a magistrate's office wedding. So, let's scroll back up to the top here, go search, hover the catalogue, click on titles, and then let's look up Transvaal Marriage 1955. And here's the one that we want. Click on that. I will be placing the links to these catalogs in the description of this video if you would like to use them. Alternatively, if you just want to join us on the South African Genealogy group on Facebook, Linda Farrell has compiled a fantastic sheet with all these links. Alright, so now, as you can see from the title, this covers Transvaal civil marriages from the years 1931 to 1955. So let's try and look for the year 1946 Johannesburg in the notes column. Now Johannesburg, of course, was a very large city even in 1946, so there were bound to be thousands of marriages solemnized within the year of 1946. So that's why it's good that these marriage records are organized into towns and then dates. So if you have as I mentioned before, if you have the date of marriage and the town, it will be relatively easy to find the record. So, Johannesburg, 1946. So, as we can see, because Johannesburg is quite a large registration district, it goes across 2 films. So let's see on the second film what day that starts from. So September, and Thelma and Isaac were married in August. So we're going to want to go back to that other film, which will cover the end of August. So let's go about 3,000 images in. And the day we're looking for is the 26th of August. And we can see here, it already starts on the 24th. So if we go a few more images in, maybe let's go 5 more images in. So we're on the 25th now. So let's go a couple more in, see if that takes us to Thelma and Isaac's marriage. Just emphasizing here, as you can see, all denominations, Jewish, Christian, Hindu, Muslim, whatever, they'll all be covered. Civil registration was mandatory. Alright, so let's go a couple more in. And here we have it, the first marriage registered for that day, I believe. So we found Isaac and Thelma's marriage, easy as that. Let's go and try and find a free state marriage. So X out of this. For this example, my grandfather and grandmother eloped in Bloemfontein. At the time, it was halfway between where my grandmother and grandfather were living, respectively. So let's go up here, into catalog, and go Free State Marriage 1955. And this is the catalog we want to show. As you can see, the naming pattern is very similar to the previous 2 catalogs. And let's scroll down to 1948. Right, so it looks like all of 1948 is covered in this film here. So let's go about 1200 images in and see where that takes us to. Right, so we are in the registration district of Bloemfontein for the year 1948. It's great. But my grandparents were married in December, so let's go a few more images in. Alright, I think we're a few days ahead of ourselves here. Let's go about 10 images back. And here we have it. Hilton, Heinrich Bodie and Ruby Joy Roberts marrying in the Bloemfontein Magistrate's Office. Alright, that's a Free State marriage. Now let's go and try and find a Natal marriage. Now, lucky for us, thanks to the awesome South African indexing team, all of the Natal marriages from the beginning of civil registration in Natal, I believe, right up until 1955, have already been indexed. So in this case, we don't need to do the hard yards and find it manually. We can just go search, records, click on Africa, and scroll down to our beloved South Africa. Go show all 18 collections. And then click on South Africa, Natal Province, Civil Marriages. So in this instance, we're finding my great-grand-aunt Anna Radamere's marriage to Samuel Watson, which took place on the 14th of February 1950 in Durban. She was recently divorced from Albert Viljoen, so she likely married under the surname of Viljoen, although her maiden name will likely be recorded despite the fact of being a divorcee. So let's have a look searching under Anna Radamere's, because there's bound to be less Anna Radamere's in our search results than Anna Viljoen, because Viljoen's quite a prolific family in South Africa. And the first marriage to come up is Anna marrying Samuel Watson. And all we have to do here, because it's already indexed, is click on it, click on the image, and here we have the marriage rafter. Easy as that. Alright, now, this is the first time in my tutorial, so I think I've ever mentioned these 1956 to 1960 marriages, which I only discovered in the latter half of last year, and they have been an absolute godsend in my research. They are extremely genealogically rich. We're going to be using my great uncle as an example, but because my great aunt is still living, I'm going to search for my other great grand uncle and have a look at his marriage just as an example so you can see what's included in these 1956 to 1960 marriages. So this is an example of a really detailed marriage. First names and surnames for the bride and groom, where they were married, their identity numbers, whether they're married by an antenuptial contract or not, their occupations, their places of birth, residences at the time, any remarks, and in some lucky cases, it even gives information about the parents. Hence my excitement about this catalogue. Get onto it, definitely. Alright, so let's go and try and find my great uncle's marriage. So, he was married on the 16th of April 1960 in Benoni at St. Patrick's Catholic Church. So, let's go onto the FamilySearch catalogue, hover over search and then catalogue, click on titles, and then type in South Africa marriage 1960. And this is the catalogue, sorry, not that one, sorry, this is the catalogue we're after. Civil registrations, marriages, whites, coloureds, and Indians for South Africa and Southwest Africa, covering the years 1956 to 1960. Right. So, the first few films, for i.e. the years 1956 and 1957, they are in exactly the same, they're ordered in exactly the same fashion as the first four catalogues that we scrutinized for the 1930 to 1955 marriages. So they go by town first, sorry, by year first, then town, and then once you're in the registration district or town you want, you're going to have to find the date that you're after. So you'll be finding those marriages exactly the same way as the other ones. However, once you get beyond 1957, and I much prefer this order, all the marriages are in order of surname, which is just fantastic. So basically, for any given year, you can just go into a film and go to a particular surname and try and find the surname of your relative, and hopefully their marriage will be there, which is what we're going to be doing for this marriage right now. So like I mentioned, Martin, my great uncle Martin, was married in 1960 in Benoni. So let's scroll down to the bottom of this catalogue to 1960. And then we're searching for the surname Rademeyer. So this catalogue covers Peterson to Richter. So let's open that into a new tab, because Rademeyer alphabetically will fall between those two surnames. So let's go about, well, towards the end of the catalogue, I'd say, because it starts on a different letter. And as you can see, we are already at the surname Rademeyer. However, first name is Hercules, so let's go a few more images in and see where that takes us to. Right, so now we're at Rademeyer, Leopold. So another few images and we should be at the letter first name M for Martin. And here we have my great uncle's marriage to my great aunt in 1960 in Benoni. Not as detailed as the record we looked at earlier, it doesn't give parents' names, but got a lot of detail nonetheless. Anyway, I hope that this tutorial has been helpful. If you have any questions, comments, or queries, just leave it in the comment section of this video or message me directly if you feel more comfortable doing that. I will see you guys in my next tutorial. Bye.